thunder. I don't know if I got the recording on fast enough. So I tell you, this has been the coldest, cloudiest year since we've been here. This is terrible. For the last week, it's been pretty high temperatures, but not even exceedingly hot. You know, it was in the 90s, but I know somebody goes, it was really hot, but that's not, I mean, it's uncomfortable. It's not exceedingly hot. So here we are, back to clouds and rain and thunderstorms. I mean, that's good for the business, the lawnmower repair business. Keeps the grass growing. I just got the grass cut a little bit today. I would like to have made a video, but I was testing the lawnmower. That is a kind of a downside to, I mean, it's an upside and a downside. I guess that's the best way to put it. I mean, I don't have to use my lawnmowers to cut grass, but on the other hand, I prefer using my lawnmowers because the John Deere, maybe even the Beast, I didn't notice the difference between the two, seems to sit higher. The deck seems to sit higher than any other lawnmower that I bring over here. And every time I try to cut grass, it seems like it just cuts it real short. And if it doesn't rain, then the grass dies. But the John Deere doesn't kill the grass. I can cut it in August and haven't had rain for a month, and it does fine. So last year was completely dead, but I tested a Craftsman and it just dug into the dirt basically. But I guess we're gonna get a couple days of rain. It's not all day rain, so that's good. And it's not even really heavy rain. This morning, rained for like an hour, and it was already dry by the time I got the Husqvarna done. So all these mowers are now ready for pickup. This is kind of the aggravation of it all. This guy, there's no reason why he didn't pick it up yesterday. None. He didn't come up with an excuse or anything. I told him it was ready. He said, wow, ready already. And that was all I got from him. This one I'm supposed to deliver, but he won't tell me a day to deliver it on. I'm assuming it's going to be this weekend, today, or maybe even today. I don't know, it's starting it late. I'll probably tell him no if it's today, because this guy does want to show up. I just called him, so that's great. I called him about an hour, maybe two ago, and he's, yep, I'll come right out. This guy, I'm sure he'll pick it up pretty quickly, I would imagine. But I left a message and he hasn't replied back, but he works, so there's quite a bit of money sitting here. Somebody brought by a tire last night. I was out doing a delivery, and the guy called all aggravated. You're not here, where are you at? I brought a tire over and I need to get it fixed. And, well, I'm doing a delivery. Oh, okay, well, I understand. As soon as you say you're doing a delivery or a pickup, they're totally cool with it. Until then, they're very irate. Had a John Deere guy come by, you know, a guy with John Deere came by, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and he was trying to call me, and of course I'm way out and I don't have a signal. And he says, I'm bringing this lawnmower over today. You're not here. And I said, well, I'm picking up another lawnmower. Oh, okay. Well, can I just park that John Deere over here and leave my name and phone number? Sure. So as soon as you say you're working, they're fine. But if they think that you're out gallivanting, they don't like it. So still parking the truck over here because of that heat in the evening. So hopefully tomorrow it's not raining too bad and I can get started on hooking this winch up. I really am looking forward to that. Get that hooked up, and of course I might have to do a delivery tomorrow. I don't know. But I really want to get that hooked up. It shouldn't take too long to do. I got the bolts. I think I got everything. Got the wood. I think I've planned it all out pretty good. So got some pressure treated wood over here. Picked it up last night on the way back from the delivery. So I got a 2x6 and two 2x4s. So I got all my bolts, and the hardware store is getting where they trust me so much that they usually, that when I come in, they're right on top of me, and if I say I need a bolt, they're over there getting it for me and everything. But yesterday I even asked for help, and they're having me write down the part numbers, and then as soon as she showed me how to do it, she walked away, and I got my own stuff. So I guess they're trusting me more. But got my bolts and nuts. Brought that out because the drill bit, because I'm gonna need it. Some washers. I bought this plate so I can lock down, you know, create sort of a locking system so it locks down. And in a stowed position. So I really want to get that finished up soon, like this weekend. But the rain, it may postpone things. So I had these two lawnmowers this morning that I needed to fix up, and I got out here this morning and this one turned into a nightmare. So I was making a video on it, and it was just changing the deck belt. That's all I was going to do, is change the deck belt. Not a deck belt, I'm sorry, a drive belt. So you drop the deck, raise up the front end, pop the belt off, put a new one on. Well, it needed two spindles, so 2 pulleys, idler pulleys. And I knew that, so I ordered those 2. And typically you just unbolt it, pulley falls off, you put a new one on, you're done. So got into that one, and it completely different. I had to take the seat off, the entire, not the frame, but the whole seat and everything connected to it. Fenders, that's what I'm looking for, the word fenders. And there was 2 bolts. I could tell it was still attached. I don't know where so I had to get in there and look at the diagram. And underneath the sticker that sits on where the floorboard is, there's a sticker there. Underneath there was two bolts. I had to go through the sticker. I think somebody has replaced the sticker because somebody replaced the rear pulley with the wrong one. And that's probably why the belt gave up like it did. So, but that's beside the point. So I finally get that fender assembly off, which, you know, it didn't take me long to figure out that that's what I needed to do. I've heard about that happening, but I've never really seen one that I had to take the fender off to replace a pulley. I mean, that seems so ridiculous. You know, everybody complains about John Deere because they have this one little bolt that you got to take out that's in a tight spot, but you can't get it out. It was just a little patience, but that was crazy. So anyway, I get the pulley off, and it was the wrong one. They had a flat pulley. They used a front pulley for the back one. So they had 2 flat pulleys instead of one that had a V shape. So I got the pulley off, and then there was a bushing missing. Well, that makes sense because the pulley they put on it was way too tall. It was much fatter than the V shape. So I had to stack washers together to get the right size and get everything working. So it turned into about a 2-hour project when I only estimated 1 hour. So I told him that I'm going to charge him for it because that was a mess. Not that I had to take the fender off. I'd have ate that cost. But the mess was with the pulley being incorrect, and having to come up with a bushing idea and trying to figure out if that was going to work, and measuring everything to make sure it was the right size. Because you can go over to the schematic, and you know, it said 0.38 was the thickness. Well, the problem is that bushing came around the bearing, so it was thicker than my washer assembly. So I had to do the math and all that and try to figure it all out. So, you know, there was just a lot of extra work and steps. They had a guard on, and self-tapping bolt is all it's supposed to be, but they had it with a nut and a washer and drilled through and underneath the engine, and so it just took more time. So I encourage people to work on their lawnmowers, but I also encourage them to do it correctly. You know, I show this video at the end of my other channel, on my other channel. I show on the Up Next box a lot how to order parts, and I think that's key. People don't want to buy parts. They just go out there and just rig something up, or when they have an electrical issue, they just start disconnecting things. They have no idea what they're disconnecting, but they just disconnect things. And so you got a mess that you got to deal with. That Husqvarna was a perfect example. Yeah, he had an ignition coil problem. That's in the end, that's what he had. But he decided to take the carburetor off, and then he grounded out 2 wires, and it kept blowing fuses. And he kept saying, "Well, that must be an ignition coil issue," which had nothing to do with it. And he just could not get past the idea that they had a carburetor issue. But it just wasn't producing spark on one side, is what it was doing. and he just couldn't get past it. So I call him up today and say, hey, it's finished, it's ready to go. Oh, you got it running? I said, yeah, got it running. It also didn't have any spark. And he says, oh, so that's why it wouldn't turn over. No. He says, did you work on the carburetor? And I said, well, there was nothing wrong with the carburetor. You kept blowing fuses because the carburetor, which is what he worked on, was grounding out. So once I got that figured out, then I realized the ignition coil had issues. You weren't getting spark on the other side, so I ordered 2 new ignition coils. Well, what about the carburetor? I said, there's nothing wrong with the carburetor. Yes, there is. It was misfiring. I said, that's the ignition coil. It wasn't creating sparks, so it was misfiring. Oh, and we went back and forth like this for a week nearly. He just could not grasp it wasn't a carburetor. So, you know, you end up doing a lot more work by not following the instructions. I mean, again, I have no problems with people doing, that's why I have the other channel. But I wasn't able to make videos for the other channel today, and that aggravates me a lot. On the first one, it got to be such a mess with all these extra bolts and bushings and trying to rig things up and trying to figure out how to fix things, that it wasn't really even a video anymore. It was just me stumbling around. So I gave up on that one. And then when I went to the Husqvarna, all I had to do is replace the ignition coils. And that's such an easy job. You take off the shroud around the engine, take the ignition coil off, put a new one on, gap it. And I'm running right through it. And I realize, I don't know, 5 minutes into it, you know, I've got the cover off and I already got one ignition coil off, and that I forgot to push the button on the camera. So the camera, I'm sitting here talking to myself because the camera's not even recording anything. And I'm just, and I do that so often that I just forget to push the button. There's 2 buttons on this camera. 1 to turn the camera on, and 2 to start recording. And I just can't seem to remember that after I turn it on, that I gotta hit the record button. I do it a lot on the other channel. So 2 videos that I missed today. And I really want to get enough videos so I can get through the winter with the videos I have. I'm clear up to September right now, almost at the end of September, I guess, September 25th, with videos. And as we get closer into October and stuff, I want to start getting once a week. I'll change it all to once a week instead of twice a week. And even Google recommends that I do that with this channel. And then back in next May, I'll be able to do it the other way. So I went to buy Berkey filters yesterday. I just wanted to throw this out. And every place I went is sold out. They don't have them. And now I have an extra set. But Carolyn and I decided we were going to test a different one. And all the reviews seem like it's pretty good. Maybe not quite as good as Berkey, but water drop filters off Amazon, 42 bucks. The other thing is I was able to find one set of Berkey filters on Amazon, but they were nearly $300 just for the filters, 2 filters. That was more than double than what we paid the last time we bought them. So we decided not to get the Berkey, and we're gonna look into this more, you know, watch the videos and all that stuff. But this company is certified NSF or something, so water tastes really good. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video over my other channel. Appreciate you to check it out. So I hope I can inspire you to get through the day. Live your dreams. Thanks for watching.